Pete Sampras.
If you're wondering what the most popular sport is at the moment, well, it's the game of brands dropping sponsorship. The Tennis Masters at London's Royal Albert Hall is no exception, and this year they're looking for a new headline sponsor.
I think the biggest problem at the moment is people actually seeing the opportunities that are out there and seeing through what they read in the papers. And like the economy, it's so much driven by confidence. And the moment the mood changes, so do people's attitudes. There's been a huge growth in banks and financial institutions getting involved in sponsorship. You look across the board, whether it be rugby, cricket, tennis, golf, the lion's share of the brands that have been involved have come from the financial sector.
Along with the automotive industry, these sectors have suffered the most in the downturn, and so has their ability to fund sponsorship contracts, including the Tennis Masters.
Organisations are really having to weigh up sponsorship investments, not up against other sponsorship investments, but up against other business investments. So if you're looking to justify a sponsorship that's 20, 30, 40 million pounds, you're weighing up against other investments of that nature across the business and across the board.
Like any marketing discipline, there have been cutbacks, there's no doubt about that. But I think sponsorship, rather unfairly, is being targeted and blamed for a lot of corporate waste, corporate excessive expenditure, which really is not its problem. Sponsorship in many ways is a victim of its own success. It's so high profile, it involves such exciting sport and such exciting personalities that it's attracting a lot of unfair criticism.
Especially those sponsorship deals involving banks, specifically those that were bailed out across the globe with taxpayers' money. These financial institutions are now being forced to justify the real value of their sponsorship deals.
For a major global sponsorship, in terms of exposure, I've seen figures which, can be as high as, 20 times the investment that companies or brands are putting into the sponsorship. I mean, in global terms, sponsorship can deliver massive benefits. It's got the ability to cross boundaries, to cross cultures, to get through language barriers and get to every country in the world without the need for tailoring the execution to meet those particular needs of individual countries.
A surefire strategy, but harder times means that Cows Week, a global sailing event, is also without a main sponsor this year. It's now seeing a sea change in attitude that's spreading throughout the sports sponsorship industry.
We're being far more flexible than maybe we would have been a couple of years ago. The rights fees that we're looking for, and also the rights we're prepared to offer, we're just totally flexible. And we'll talk to people about what they want and what they need to make it really good for them.
That landscape is changing, and like anything, changes bring opportunities. And I think it's perhaps suppressed a number of other brands being allowed to get involved into sponsorship, from the FMCG world, perhaps from the drinks world. Airlines is another example that are traditionally very strong in sponsorship. And I think the change in landscape will bring new brands into the game, which I think is very exciting.
Down at the O2 Arena, named after a local telecom sponsor, they're realising that engaging the consumer directly is now key to survival. And it's not just about bringing US NBA matches to London.
We've all had it arguably too easy for the last 10, 15, 20 years. We're getting cleverer now. Things like naming rights are becoming really valuable. The naming rights of something like the O2, I would argue now, give significant value to our naming rights partner.
I think brands will continue to engage in sport, media and entertainment sponsorship. They will look to really drive hard the return on investment. They will look to really engage consumers, and they will use a variety of mediums to do that, and they will use the full marketing mix: on-site, off-site, TV, online, social networking, grassroots, CSR. Really, they now need to sort of use the full toolkit, as it were.